Welcome, April. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. And for those of us ones who are watching this interview, April Benincosa, she is actually the leader of her own community of women. And she has a bigger community and a smaller group that she has created. And this group of women have been working together on a very deep level, like taking different retreats together, traveling to Europe, doing different intensives, deep inner journeys together. So it's a very beautiful example and a role model for the community, right? So like a tribe of people who are creating enormous like support system, amazing this deep relationships with each other and evolving and growing together. So I'm really excited to have this conversation with April, and I'm sure she will share so many insights, not just on the personal level, but also as the leader, as the feminine leader of this beautiful community as well.
Well, happy to be here.
All right. So let's start from the very beginning. I know we've done a few events together. I've been collaborating after that and worked on so many levels together. So let's go back to our first retreat and when I met your group, right? And maybe you can share what inspired you to learn Tantra and, bring yourself in this vulnerable environment and dive deeper, exploring like intimacy and connection and tantric practices in your group with your friends.
Yeah. So my sister actually gifted me my first session with you for my birthday. And we always like to give each other experiences for our birthdays. We're all in our 40s and we don't need anything per se. So we always try to give each other like cool experiences. And I was actually going through a really hard time in my marriage and just with my sexuality as a whole. I had had a lot of sexual abuse as a kid and as in my early 20s. And so I kind of just had shut off from that part of myself. And through a lot of my other healing work, embodiment was the piece that kept coming to me. And I really wanted to do it in a very feminine way. And, Tantra had always kind of called to me. And so then my sister was like, hey, there's this beautiful woman from California who's coming into town to Utah. And I would love to gift you this group. And so then I messaged a whole bunch of my friends and they were like, I'm in, let's go. This sounds like right up our alley. So that was like my first introduction with you.
Beautiful. Yes, yes. With your sister. Yeah, that's also with
Yeah.
your sister. So tell me about the first experience. How was it for you when we first met? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember your sister organized it, and this is how I met you and other amazing women from your
Yeah.
group.
Yeah. Um, it was a little uncomfortable at first to make the noises out loud. I just had, if I do ayahuasca or anything like that, I've always tried to be quiet, and it's been an important part of me learning to use my voices to like not worry about that. But I remember the girl next to me, I didn't really know her very well at all, Alexa. Um, and now she's a really dear friend. We're actually messaging today right before this call. Um, and and she just seemed so open and free with that part of her sexuality of just being heard and being able to make noises and not worry about anybody else what they were thinking. So that did give me some permission to do that. Um and and then it did build pretty quick vulnerability and intimacy with the group. Some of the eye gazing exercises or the giving and receiving exercises, I really have loved those exercises. And I do think with a lot of my friends that had come that I was already close with, it did deepen our friendship in a really beautiful way that was not sexual but very intimate. And so I liked that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, sometimes people think, like, oh, tantra retreat, are we gonna get naked? It's like, no, not for the very long time, and there is no need to do that overall in the group setting. This is like personal preferences, whatever people want to explore. But yes, at the beginning, we're really create safe space and create connection and create, start very simple but very deep connection practices, right? We work in dyad a lot. We go deeper in expanded states of consciousness, so we can be now with our body on a deeper level and also with our emotions, right? So yeah, it was a beautiful experience. So what was your biggest takeaways from that first retreat? It was more like introductive, but many women reported a lot of breakthroughs and realizations that helped them to create big changes, how they show up in life and navigate life, and besides the intimacy, like overall, at all areas, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've never had a problem. I did hair for 20 years and bartended, and I never had a problem making eye contact or being close with someone or any of that. I've done lots of exercises where we had that, but I think what I got for myself at that first one was just how much my intimacy with myself was missing. And when I remember crying a lot during the journey just because I was in deep sadness and grief at the time. And it was more like that longing for that connection to myself. And
Mm.
uh, so after that, that was kind of my work to work on that part, is to do eye gazes with myself and to connect with myself. And that was the relationship that I was longing for. So, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and April is also been my private client, right, with her husband, and they done interview on that as well. So she has done a lot of work on building up her personal practice, right, with her body, developing relationship with her body, right, and overall with your being, right. It's also very deep spiritual connection when we use our breath, movement, sound. They start to make movies about it, actually. So we've been talking about like making a film about these things. But tell me how was your experience of building up your own practice, and what kind of challenges you faced, and how actually benefit from having this practice now on a very consistent basis?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of resistance at first and avoidance, which is my pattern. So I I would set time aside to do it, and then just kind of like do it for 5 minutes and be like, nah, I'm not into it. And then when I finally was like, no, I'm setting the day, I'm setting the stage, and really setting the sacred space, um, like lighting the incense, lighting candles, doing a bath beforehand, like that has really helped me care for myself a lot more in like times that have been hard, to have more compassion for myself, to pay attention to myself and give myself love and care. And then with the breath work, um definitely I moved out quite a bit of old energy that was stuck, and just like a lot of releasing, of opening up to something new and different, and letting go of some of the heaviness that had been there through the breath movement sound. I had some very big releases with that, and so that was really really helpful to move out a lot of that energy.
Mm, beautiful. Yeah, yeah. If you're open to share, maybe you can share a little bit how important it is to develop a relationship with your own body and understanding what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, what you like, what you don't like. Experiment with your body and explore, and how it affects your relationship with your partner, how it shifts relationship with your partner at the end as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think women tend to expect a man to read her mind, and but women don't even really, a lot of women don't know what they want. I'll speak for myself. I didn't really know what I wanted, and I just wanted my partner to read my mind, and then it caused like stories and hurt. And so when you asked us to like pleasure map ourselves and figure out what I do like and what I don't like, and I think that's constantly changing still, as I'm still moving through things and peeling back the layers of the learned self, and diving more into the authentic self. um those are still changing and moving. So they're kind of like expanding in real time, which is cool. But I think it's really important for women to learn to ask for what they want. And so that has been something that has been very powerful for me, is to be like, oh, could like asking for it. Like, could you do this with this pressure in this way? And just being able to ask for it, what I want. And I noticed that has gone out into my other areas of me owning businesses or coaching or other things. It's easier for me to ask for what I want in general now.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. So tell me a little bit more about the second retreat. I remember it was in a beautiful cabin in winter. It was not winter though, it was like April, but it was snowing so
Yeah.
hard, right? But it was magical experience, right? With women in this cabin with the snow outside. And what is your memory right now? And what was the highlight of that experience?
Yeah. Yeah, it's snowing up a lot right up there right now. So um we definitely missed the divine masculine to shovel us out. I know that.
I remember this one guy showed up and did this on machine.
It's for sure. Um, I really loved hearing everyone's shares about their grief or their excitement or how they connect to their partner. And for me, I really liked the giving and receiving part. And I felt like I got into a flow with my friend of like when I was the one giving, um, where like we almost became one with our energy. And it was a really cool connection that I've never actually had before. And it just felt so effortless. And we were both in our bodies and just letting that guide us. Um, I still think to that day that's probably one of my most favorite experiences. And then I just remember after, when it was my turn to receive, um, I just started crying and I was just releasing, and she just kind of held me and like soothed my face and like comforted me like a child, and that was really beautiful and awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was so magical, such a magical experience. What's the value of bringing women together, like the ones you really know, like your women friends, and doing it with them? And not just one experience, you guys did, you ladies did so many experiences together. What's the value of that for you?
Yeah. I mean, your vibe attracts your tribe for sure. And, you have the consciousness of the top 5 people around you. So if I want to be in a consciousness of flow and embodiment and balancing my masculine and feminine, it's wonderful that people in my community have that same and can hold that same similar space and go to those depths that I can go. Um, and that's kind of the only friendships I'm interested in right now, is friends willing to do the work to the depth that I am, and have those conversations, because now there's like different language that we share, and there's different tools that we have to create intimacy. And crucial, like you are a master in nonviolent communication, and being able to have those conversations that take your friendship to the next depth. um it's I think it's the most powerful thing that you can create. So
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And it's so amazing because you guys like role model for people who maybe dream about experience and they just don't have a community. So, and I know one of your biggest gifts is to bring people together and to, you know, attract exactly the right people in your tribe, right? And they all show up, they always show up. So how is that for you? Like how you manage to do that, and what it takes to be a leader?
wow. It's interesting, because when you have a gift, you just don't realize it's a gift, because that's just how you always are. Like, I've just always been that way since I was a kid, on the playground organizing people for tag or whatever we were playing. I was always the one gathering people. But I do believe that people heal through belonging. So I also am a coach and hold my own women's retreats, and um like we're our methodology is that people heal through belonging and connection. So one is you really have that deeper that connection with yourself, and then that gravitates people to you because they're like they feel something's different. Um and two, just always like coming from a place of love, and and for me it's really understanding that like, and I think it's all my years of doing hair and bartending and traveling of like maybe this person's energy is better over here with this group. So, being mindful and thoughtful of like this group parties really hard and is really into this, and this person's very soft and delicate, so maybe that won't be the best fit, but sometimes it is. So it really is just trusting your intuition of like what kind of an experience you're giving. With tantra, we had my friend who's a lesbian, my friend who's really young and just newly married and super into her stuff, a couple women who are singles, a friend who was going through a divorce. So it was definitely a lot of different type women in different stages. But I would say the one thing that we all had in common was kind of that fiery energy of wanting to pursue this passion in this deep way together, and really that non-judgmental, like, hey, that's where you're at, that's great, that's not where I'm at, but like that's okay that that's where you are. So there's just a whole bunch of love and acceptance. And I think whatever group you're in, just creating that safe container of like everything is welcome here and everyone is welcome here, and holding that space for yourself, and then you can hold that container for everyone else.
Yeah, so powerful, right? I can feel it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the last question I have to discuss today is our next retreat, right? So we're planning to continue our journey, and it will be our third dive in with the group, right? And maybe some new people join. It's not like that close, but it's like the same people going deeper and deeper together. So what would be your desire or request for the next level of exploration when it comes to Tantra, right? Embodiment, working with feminine, masculine, sacred union, intimacy, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know we had talked before about doing one with couples this time with partners and having that masculine there. And I think that would be interesting. Um, I always let it be in flow of like who shows up. If there's a lot of people who don't have partners, then, do we just keep it all women? But I think adding the masculine would be cool. Spencer and I went and did a private with you, and that was really powerful to just have his and I energy there. I also know that last time we were going to do the group orgasm together, and I was kind of wanting to do it, but the group was really tired, energetic, just let it flow. But some of us talked afterwards, like we thought that would have been a really powerful experience to get rid of
Mm,
shame around the orgasm and shame around pleasure, and
mm,
um not keeping it the secret, you know thing that you can't talk about, but just like some like taking out a lot of the shame. I think that'd be a really interesting experience too.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Such a powerful, like explosive energy, right? This is like a
Mhm.
big bang experience within and in the collective space, right? Which can be
Mhm.
very beautiful, deep and safe space, right? Well, thank you so much, April. I'm looking forward to our next collaboration and exploration and work, whatever will open up in the future. Yes, and I hope for more interviews and conversations in the future as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.